Hi, Misha here, and let's talk some Bakelite. Recently, after years of looking for one, I picked up a Chinese Type 56S-2. Actually, this one was marked AKS because it's an earlier one, and I was specifically looking for a Norinco branded one rather than a Polytech. This one's a bit of a hybrid. It is Norinco, but it has the Type 1 bayonet lug, and I brought out a Type 1 bayonet. I believe this one's Polish, just whichever one I grabbed. This is the style that locks under the sight base here, as opposed to the later AKM that locks back here. Also, whereas the AKM can be used as a wire cutter, this is just a long stabby thing. And ones like this have a so-called Bakelite grip, while others will still have wood. These usually still have a metal scabbard. Anywho, a couple of things I've changed. Put on a different upper handguard because people didn't like the one that was in the first video. And I actually just found in my parts bin a Chinese single leather tab sling. Before I had a double tab. This has the side folding stock. And one reason I really wanted the Norinco style, I really like this style of pistol grip. But we shot it, and it did well. But in that video, I said I was actually looking for this. A so-called Chinese Bakelite mag. And now I have one. Now I've had them in the past. In fact, before I got this gun a couple of years ago, I had a whole pouch that a guy sent me on trade. But I didn't have one of the guns and wasn't sure I would ever get one. And I said in that video I was kind of looking for one. And a few people offered and a few things happened. A couple of people had very mint examples. But I wanted one with a little wear so I could shoot it. So I waited. And actually I have this one now thanks to Small Arms Solutions, Chris Bartacci, who had two. And so he agreed to trade one off to me so I can have it to complete my rifle here, which I'm much obliged. As new, a lot of these 56 2s and the 56.3 fixed stock version actually still came with the steel mag, but this is the matching mag. Now these are referred to as Bakelite. It's actually a phenolic resin, and they are coated usually 66 for Norinco. Now it's said that they made these for the commercial market in America because of the love affair with the Bakelite look. But they're well-made mags. We have a steel floor plate. We have steel reinforced front lug and back lug. I'm not sure if the feed lips are steel, but I believe they are. Yeah, they are. They feel like it. Follower steel. And it has the small cutout here. But it does have a few interesting features. For example, this notch up here, and also the notches in the front. And it is clearly a different material. It's very light, got a little flex to it. It's got a smooth back. And again, it's what really matches my rifle here. And just adds to that kind of 80s aesthetic. So again, much obliged to Chris Bartacci, and hopefully our trading will benefit him as well. But with that, let's do a little comparing. We like comparing on this channel. 56.2. And we're the only channel to use pre-banned Chinese as background decor. So here we are with this mag again. And let's compare it with some Russian compatriots. We have 4 here, 2 Izhevsk, and 2 Tula. And Russia was really the only nation to manufacture the so-called Bakelite mag in 7.62x39. Other nations used it, but they were the only ones to manufacture it. And again, this isn't really Bakelite. This is actually a reinforced AG4, a fiberglass type material with steel. We'll just call it Bakelite. Good enough, right? So we have a few types here. Here is an Izhevsk. Have a code on the bottom. And this one's neat because it has the flat back, no spine. It also has a flat base plate, which is one of the variations used. It's still metal. If we look at the Chinese, it's also a flat back, very Chinese feature. And it has kind of a simplified base plate here. Looking at its Tula compatriot, this one has the flat base plate. Of course, base plates can be swapped out. And this one has the spine on the back. Tula star there. It also has the lot number, the mold. I can't talk. Cold. Has this kind of a similar hole in the front to the Chinese, but notice no hole up here. Moving forward to another Izhevsk. You can see the triangle. Some confuse the Cougar triangle on AKs with the Izhevsk, but Cougar did not make AG4 fiberglass Bakelite mags. This Izhevsk has the spine, and it has the, you should say, the more common base plate. Otherwise pretty similar. And finally, back to a Tula. With a code on the side there. And again, no spine on the back. Just variations. You will be able to tell more on the whole color front than I, so not much I can say there. From what I understand, the Chinese is a little darker, and the Russians have a little more patterning to them, a little more grain, as people call it. These are all referred to as Bakelite, but again, it's not really what they are, but it works. I will say the Chinese is lighter than these, and these really don't have any flex to speak of, whereas the Chinese. So this does appear to be made of a more modern synthetic material than these, which makes sense. Russia started working on the AG4 mag in the mid-60s, 64, 65, 66, after having experimented with aluminum alloy on a few different patterns. And they first introduced the 7.62x39 Bakelite mag in 68, 69. So these were well in use by the time of the Afghanistan War, 1979. The idea here is to be as durable as a steel magazine, but as lightweight as possible, like an alloy. And they succeeded marvelously. These mags are very durable. They're also very lightweight for what they are. And they're pretty corrosion resistant. Of course, the metal base plate, the follower, the spring can corrode, but the body, no, not really. Plus, you look at it, it's either cracked and chipped, so it's not a good mag, or it's not, and it is a good mag, unlike a metal mag, which can have small dents that you may not first detect. And so these were very successful. In fact, they were also carried over to the AK's big brother. AES 10B, last mag of the day. An extended version was made for the Kalashnikov handheld machine gun, the light machine gun, the RPK. Originally, the RPK was issued with a 75-round drum made of steel and a 40-round box mag, also made of steel. But since the AG4 mag, the Bakelite mag, was working out so well and was quite a bit lighter, having a machine gunner save weight was always a good idea. So, they gave it the Bakelite treatment. And these are all operated under the Molot name. At least what the company we would know as Molot after 92, I believe. These have a very simple batch number. 1, 2. And otherwise pretty boring on the markings front. I have seen some that have the Molot shield. And I've also seen others that were just scrubbed. But these are not common, so you kind of take what you can get. Because they didn't make them for long, at least in the grand scheme of things. But the ones we do have held up well over the years. Like I said, they're pretty normal. Here we are again comparing with the Chinese for color. And as cool as it would have looked to have a Bakelite 75-round RPK drum, they did not do one. Although they did experiment with kind of a pancake drum for the RPK 74, the 5.45 by 39. But that's a story for another day. They, of course, did 30-round mags for the AK-74. And for the RPK-74, they didn't do a 40-round mag. They did a 45-round mag. So 7.62, 40-round, 5.45, 45-round. And again, these are only made in Russia. And not many nations even made the 5.45 Bakelite mag in 30 rounds. East Germany is probably the biggest one of note. Other nations, again, used it, like Bulgaria, but by the time they got around to making their own mags, newer materials had come along, like, say, the plum material, and then later the more modern True Black, as it's called. And these pretty much were phased out of service, for the most part, by the 1980s, 1990s, although, of course, you can still find them in reserves and here and there, and many of them were left in Afghanistan and have been recycled ever since. But we all like Bakelite, so I thought, let's just talk a little bit about it here to give some AK magazine content. What do you think? What's your favorite AK mag? Which one do you find interesting? There's a lot of cool variations out there. And for a third and final time, much appreciation to Small Arms Solutions. check them out if you haven't, which you probably have, but if you haven't, do that too. And if you haven't checked out some of our AK catalog, yeah, you might do that too if you're bored. With that, I'll let you go. If you could, like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to help support the channel, please check out the link to our Patreon. This is Misha, and we'll catch you very soon next time.